10.4b, solving equations by factoring. Solve by factoring. Okay, so this is like taking what we did in the last section and adding one step to it. In the last section, in 10.4a, we had the factors there for us. They were already in their parentheses. They were, for the most part, already a binomial. All we had to do was set them equal to 0 and then solve to find out what x equaled to solve our equation. Now we're taking it we're adding a step to it. So if there is an x squared and an x in the equation, first we need to factor the equation. I don't know if that's going to fit on the line there, before we solve the equation. Oop, that's not it either. And we do that like we've been doing kind of this whole time. So in example 1 right here, I have x squared minus 4x minus 12 equals 0. And so the first thing that I'm going to do is break this apart. That x squared is easy. I'm just going to have x and x right there. And then I'm going to look at my factors of 12, and I'm going to think to myself, what numbers, when I multiply them together, equal 12, but when I add or subtract them, equal 4. And the one that sticks out to me is 6 times 2, because 6 times 2 is 12, right? But 6 minus 2 gets me to that 4. So I'm going to use 6 and 2. Now, my original equation here has 2 subtraction signs. And what that means is that the largest number is the largest second number is negative. And then the smaller second number is positive. Oh, that doesn't look like a plus sign at all. And the reason for that is if I FOIL this out, right, if I'm checking my work, I'm going to end up with negative 6x plus 2x, which when I combine those gives me that 4x. Okay, so now we've got it factored. We've factored our equation. Now I'm going to set each one of these little dudes equal to 0. So I'm going to make them 2 different colors here so that we can kind of see that there's 2 separate things kind of going on. That one went there, and this one is going right here. Okay, so let's solve that x minus 6 first. I got to add to get it across the equal sign. Whatever I do on one side of the equal sign, I have to do on the other. That's going to give us x equals positive 6. You might be able to shortcut these. I'm kind of doing all of the steps. You could maybe get good enough to look at this and say x plus 2 equals 0. Oh, that's going to be negative 2 then, right? You maybe don't have to do all the math like I'm doing, and that is a-okay if you want to do that. I'm just showing you all the steps because like I always say in class, if I'm going to make a mistake, it's when I try to do a shortcut. So anyway, so for this equation, we have solved it by factoring. We found the factors, we set them equal to 0, and then we found the 2 things that x is going to equal to solve this equation. It's either going to be 6 or it's going to be negative 2. Okay, now let's look at example 2 here. This is one that has a coefficient on my x squared, right? And if you've seen earlier videos in this unit, you know that my favorite way is to do the grouping method. So I'm going to take this and I'm going to times it by this. 3 times 4 gives me 12. And so I am going to factor this. Well, I'm not factoring it quite yet. I'm going to rewrite this equation and include 2 factors of 12. So when they times each other, they equal 12. But when I add or subtract them, they're going to equal x. And what's really weird is I've got 3 and 4 over here. So I'm going to use 3 and 4. 3x squared. And then I have 3x and 4x. and minus 4. And I want to think about this. This is a plus sign right here, so that means my bigger one is going to be positive, if you remember from grouping. And so then here we go. Now I have my expanded equation there written out. I'm going to divide these guys and I'm going to factor each chunk of this. So over here I have 3x squared minus 3x. I'm going to take 3x out of both of those. 3x squared divided by 3x leaves me with x. 3x divided by 3x is 1. Over here, I'm going to take 4 out of both of these guys. 4x divided by 4 leaves me with x. Negative 4 divided by 4 is negative 1. Go like that. And then now I'm going to factor this guy out. So I have x minus 1. And then I'm going to rewrite for my second binomial whatever is left, which is that 3x plus 4. So there I've factored my equation using the grouping method. Hopefully that looks familiar. We're building on some knowledge that you already have. And now I'm going to set each one of these little guys equal to 0. So x minus 1 equals 0. And then over here, we'll do 3x plus 4 equals 0. And so then I know how to solve these. I'm kind of running out of room. Divide by 3, divide by 3. So over here, x equals, excuse me, negative 4/3. But over here, plus 1, x is going to equal positive 1. So here are the two options of what x could equal for this particular equation up here. X is going to equal either 1 or it's going to equal negative 4/3. Good luck with this. Let me know how this section goes.